Hello. Welcome, assassins. Whoa, those audio waves are way... Hold on, may need to turn down the gain a little bit, and also switch screens. Wow, I'm never prepared. Okay, let's do this. Welcome, assassins, to this week's Ramble vlog, where I only have a vague semblance of a kind of maybe idea of what I will cover and talk about, other than answering your questions. Okay, so let's get into it. The updates for this week are... I haven't, unfortunately, had a lot of time to play Mass Effect. But last week I played it a lot, like oodles and gobs, and it says that I'm only 33% done playing it, which is very intimidating. It's like my young kid self, the me who had no responsibilities on the planet and didn't have to worry about work and, and pretty much any other thing that I do right now in my life, would love how long this game is and detailed, and would just go to and do every single thing. But the me now is just like, I want like a very, not short, but I want like a very contained, great story, Mass Effect story. It doesn't have to be 100 hours. Honestly, my younger self would have been very, very disappointed if it was a shorter game, but me now, my priorities are different, sadly, and it's really shitty. But anyway, that doesn't stop me from catering to my completionist personality, in that I will, if I have a map, I will fill out every single thing that is not the main quest in the map before going to the main quest. So that is definitely being quite a bitch this time. Like, visiting previously visited worlds in between every single mission just to make sure that I got all the side quests. So yes, I'm fucking myself on this one. Okay, I understand that. But there's nothing I can do about it, so it's probably just going to take a little while longer for me to get the Rant view out, because I always want to make sure that I complete a game and I do pretty much everything and get a really good idea of it, as well as being a huge Mass Effect game, as well as, well, it is a huge Mass Effect game, as well as being a huge Mass Effect fan. I owe it to the franchise and the series and myself to finish it as well. I just, about finding the time to, will work on that. And also I've been running into a lot of hindering issues in that the computer that I'm playing on, so we have a living room computer that's sort of like the communal computer that we do VR stuff on, and we watch movies and collaborate and everything like that on this computer. My roommate wanted me to play Mass Effect out there for the first time to see what the new Mass Effect is all about. And so I played it out there, and in my room in here, I have a computer that I would typically play games on, and the data won't transfer over. The data will transfer over, but it always tells me that I'm missing DLC that I know I have. Anyway, there's this technical problem there, to where it's on an official level, I just can't, I've tried to look at all the different solutions, I can't play it on that computer. And then outside on that computer, randomly it seems, and this is a problem that other Mass Effect Andromeda players have run into, it'll say that it'll shut down Mass Effect Andromeda, and it'll tell me that my graphics card is out of date, or it's out of memory, or anything like that. All these things are not true. It's bullshit. And so there's like a lot of random finagling and praying and hoping that it will work. So yeah, it's been a rocky road. Wow, this is the only first part is talking about Mass Effect and my issues with it. So let's move on. Let me know how you guys are playing, or how you guys are liking it. Without spoilers. Do not spoil anything for me, please, and thank you. Let me know how you guys are liking it. And as for Zelda, doing the rant view on that and the Switch, my brother lost his Nintendo Switch on his way back from Japan to the backseat pocket goblin on the plane. So it may take a little while longer for me to get to that one as well. But the good news is, and I know I say this a lot, I should have more free time after April 19th, maybe 20th, because that's when our last major event ends until the next major event, which will be, I can't actually tell you guys, so eat it. I'm just kidding. I would if I could. And now on to cosplay. I forget how much of this I covered before, but still debating whether or not to do the new Thor. Now my brother and his girlfriend in our group is debating doing a Zelda group, which means that I've been working out with Mjolnir for not a very good reason. But if we do a Zelda group, I'm thinking about also in that group, I would be Beetle, the salesman, with a giant backpack, which would be awesome. I hope I didn't cover this in the last vlog. And I would be, not exactly from Zelda, but from Nintendo, I would be a Thor hammer bro. So like the guys, the turtles with the helmets on that throw the hammer. I think that'd be pretty entertaining too. Still working on Broly, still planning on doing Broly. And also somebody from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, hoping to do Star Platinum. So that's the lineup. Like the core lineup is just picking one person from that group, as well as possibly reprising Thor, just because I've been working so damn hard with Mjolnir again. Now, on to questions from my lovely friends. First things first, you guys, it seems like almost every single comment hit on how awesome Sasa swag would be, so I'm going to work a little bit more hard on achieving that goal and at least getting specific shirts to specific people. Well, maybe not opening an official merchandise for, aspect of Team Sasa just yet, but more so just rewarding the support of the really awesome people that come by every week and check out our stuff. So the first question from Just a Bum asks, when was the first time you remember thinking, I love video games? I was 6, living in Germany, and a friend of mine got an NES for Christmas, and we played all day. It was the first time I ever saw a console and was immediately hooked. We got a Super Nintendo as a gift, and I was the youngest one of the group, so it always turned into one of those things where they would hand me a controller and be like, okay, your turn. And you'd be like, oh, this is the greatest thing ever. Oh, I'm so much better than I thought I was. And really, it was just them handing me an unplugged controller and continuing to play. So it wasn't then, although I had a great time playing those. I would say it was for Christmas when we got an N64 and Mario Kart. And just playing Death Battle with our friends. We didn't even almost ever race. We always just played the death match. I don't even know why I call it death match. Like balloon match, where you have like 3 or 4 balloons, and you're just going around this arena trying to destroy everybody else's balloons. I think that was the first time where I was like, this is one of the greatest experiences ever. That and watching people play Twisted Metal, and then my introduction to Diablo 2 and my introduction to Final Fantasy via Final Fantasy 9 for the original PlayStation was like, after that point it was game over, done deal. I will forever be a gamer after that moment in time, because I remember how like the emotions that the games made me feel, especially Final Fantasy 9. And just like, I had no idea that playing something could convey such a powerful and emotional story, and just be so incredibly engaging. Like before that time, it had been, like books being read to me and me reading some stories and me watching some shows, but something to be like interactive and you can see the story unfold and you're responsible for it was one of the most alluring things ever. Thank you for the question. I thought that was really good. And thank you for your support. Just a Bum. If you ever, I'll always let everybody know what the conventions that we're going to next are. Phoenix Comic-Con and Anime Expo are our next 2 conventions. If you find yourself around there, let's hang out. Let's go do something. We're actually setting up our own Oculus party at Phoenix Comic-Con. If any of you happen to be there, let me know. We'll see what we can set up. The party is not official just yet. We're still working on it, but we'll see what we can do. And it's probably going to be smaller than you're imagining. So yeah, let's hang out sometime, man. Where you live? Shit. And that goes for all assassins. Next is, I always fuck this one up, Tensa Zangetsu. How did you get into cosplaying? First of all, let's be honest, becoming my own main character has always been a thing ever since getting into video games and anime, and just like having them inspire me to be better than I was before, and having those characters, those inspiring characters, made me want to be them. Actually, before going to a convention and cosplaying, I cosplayed in fourth grade as Surge from Chrono Crusade, not Chrono Crusade, Chrono Cross. Get Chrono Cross, Chrono Crusade, and Chrono Trigger confused. And I know Chrono Trigger is connected to Chrono Cross. I just unfortunately have never played Chrono Trigger, but I really want to. Anyway, enough of the sidebar. I played cosplay Surge, which was really I don't know what it is or what it was about cosplay back then, but it was just like, I am the coolest person ever. I couldn't feel any better than I do right now, were my youngster little kid thoughts. And then I cosplayed Riku from Kingdom Hearts in sixth grade, I think. Riku, white-haired Riku, Riku, not Rikku, for sixth grade. And I cosplayed Vash the Stampede for seventh grade, I think. And then in eighth grade, I went to my first anime convention and was honestly too much of a coward to cosplay back then. And like the amount of work that it would have taken to cosplay the characters I did want to be was definitely intimidating to me. So it took a little while before I sort of made it to the gym, said fuck it. And it was probably my third or fourth actual anime convention until I started to cosplay. And my first cosplay was Akuma, where it was honestly more so working on the, like, having an accurate physical representation in terms of body, and instead of the costume itself. Because the costume itself was actually really simple. So it wasn't anything to be proud of. We just bought a gi, ripped it up. Ooh, actually, no, his beads. Oh, man, sorry, this is a huge ramble, but those beads were... I was really, really proud of the Akuma beads that I made. But yeah, so that was my very, very first official cosplay at a convention, and it was just super alluring. I will say, if you have an interest in becoming a cosplayer, conventions become a little bit different. They're not as casual. I like to think of conventions as having a couple different mindsets, and one of them is the consumer, the otaku mindset, which is you're going there to experience looking at cosplay and going to panels and watching new anime and buying merchandise, and that is very, very fun and alluring, and you become one with the community, like a like-minded nerd community. But when you cosplay, it sort of takes you out of that aspect of the convention and puts you in the now cosplayer aspect of the convention, where you're hanging out with cosplayers and doing shenanigans with cosplayers, and you've got more of an agenda, if that makes sense. So you can't just... And perhaps more people do it differently than this. And if you have any advice for me to sort of get me back in that community track, I would gladly take it. But I feel like both sides, both the consumer and the cosplayer sides, have their pros and cons. Especially when you're trying to get big cosplay. It's like when you think of a convention, now your mind is like, what will I cosplay at this convention, instead of just the pure attending aspect of the convention, because you always want to grow your brand. And for me, just to clarify, I don't ever care about being famous or popular or anything like that. The more support I have for my channel and my brand and everything like that, the more attention and resources I can put towards aspects of the world that I care about, like different charities and things like that. And that's why it's really important for me to... the more popular I become, the more people can see the video game fitness program, and the more people can see sort of that you can be a fit nerd in cosplay. Anyway, so many sidebars and random rambling. How did I get on this topic? Anyway, so there's the consumer aspect, which, if you are a consumer, enjoy it. You don't have to be anything other than that. Like, go to the conventions, make friends, indulge in your nerdiness. And if you're a cosplayer, indulge in the cosplay nerd community as well, but don't ever think that you are above them or you're different or anything like that. Then you can get into dangerous territory. But so yeah, that's my mindset. That's how I first got into cosplay. That's sort of what I think about cosplay and attending conventions. And now for the final comment from Soul of Base. He says, you should totally cosplay cross-dressing Cloud Strife and do a squat competition. And it should totally be a silk dress. I like the idea. Oh, sorry. I think that would be great. But wigs are something I have never tried my hand at. I would like to try. I feel like if I mastered making wigs, a lot more cosplay would open up to me. But at this point, it's like, oh, he would definitely take like a very custom wig, and I don't want to ask anybody else to do that. And it's kind of outside of my scope, so it's something that I don't put too much thought in right now, but it's something that I, as a cosplayer, owe it to myself to get better at. So, yeah, in the future, I think that that's a really great idea. It combines cosplay, it combines squatting, it combines some fitness element to it, and it even sort of like brings people in the convention if you go up to them and you're like, come on, let's do it. So, yeah. I think it's about that time, guys. This was, I believe, a pretty long one. Thank you for joining me, and as always, until fate next brings us together, and never stop playing video games. Something is in my eye. Oh.